All right, thanks. Okay, let me just share. Okay, can you hear me? All right, great. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to have the opportunity to connect with you tonight. And, we've been talking a lot about the basics and going back to basics. And tonight I wanted to talk on the topic of time management. I will be completely honest, I am no time management expert. People hand me kind of books and things on how to slow down because I'm such a busy person, so I will never pretend to know it all. But what I can share with you is how busy people are able to manage their time and get everything that they need to get done in the time that they need to. So it was really fun putting this together because we have such great news to share and a lot going on. And it's actually getting harder and harder to put these together because of all the great things going on, which is a good problem to have. So first, I want to share, let's see, we're not moving. In the Changing Lives Club, we had so many people on the board this month, and so many that I was almost not able to fit them all on here. So congratulations to each of you for doing your best to help people and change lives. And just, think when you take all of those numbers and add them up together, what great number of people that has been. So congratulations on that. We have some promotions to celebrate. So congratulations, Emily is an Emerald Coach. And Shannon is a new Emerald Coach. Michelle is an Emerald Coach. Dominique is a Diamond. Very excited for you, Dominique. And Casey is a Diamond. And Katie is a 1-star qualifying, which is awesome. Congratulations, Katie. And Brianna as well. So we've had a lot of really, really exciting news and things to share. So congratulations to everyone. And I also wanted to celebrate Joan and Ryan for completing their test group for 22-minute hardcore and for getting such great results so that we can use your photos and share and promote the program too. So your hard work pays off for everyone on this team. But congratulations. I know that was a lot of hard work. And Joan, I don't think you drank at all, which is like a super huge deal. So kudos to you. And I can't wait to get started next month. So nice job there. Our March promotions, which Joan posted onto the site today. So be sure to share those. And I also just want a quick note, I'm not going to get into it, but the challenge app is now up and running. So if anyone has any information to share about that on the page, we could start talking about that. All right, time management, the most fun topic in the whole wide world. So what do we know about time? We all don't seem to have enough. That seems to be a common problem that we all have. So how do we get the things done that we want to do in order to be successful with this business and successful with our lives? I love this. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, priorities. And Stephen Covey, if you're not familiar with him, he has a lot of different time management programs and tools and resources. So go ahead and Google him. I've actually taught a time management class based on his style before. And he's a great person to research and read about and even focus on personal development on. I also love how he talks about how it's okay to say no and to do so unapologetically and respectfully. So he's got some great info out there. So take a look. So, okay. It's not about prioritizing what's on your schedule. It's about scheduling your priorities. Well, how do we do that? I always start with making a list. I am a list person. I like to cross off the list. A lot of times I don't even get to my list, but I like to make it. So that's where I would start, especially if you're in a place where you're not necessarily sure what your priorities are or need to be, or even if you start to find that everything is becoming a priority, when everything becomes a priority, you actually have no priorities at all. So it's really important that you take time. And what I've taught people in the past in some classes that I've done is make your list and then label it A, B, C in terms of what are top priorities. So A's would be your top priorities, B middle, C the last. But again, if you have all A's on your list, then something isn't quite right. Then you need to reassess and reevaluate and look at your priorities. So I'd start with a list, and then I'd really focus on the connection I've been able to make with this business is that in order to manage my time, I have to understand what my why is, because my why will drive my time. My why will drive how much time I am willing to spend on this business. And there are a lot of different ways that we can look at our why and assess our why. Some of you spent some great time a month or so ago on making dream boards at Beth's house. So that's one way to kind of collectively put your thoughts together to determine what your why is. Some of you may have created your own personal vision statements, or maybe have a journal. I'm not a big journaler, but for some reason, I found in this book that I just randomly put thoughts, I keep it by my bed. I opened the book and I found a post from May 10th that said, I just became a Beachbody coach. And I wrote this whole page about how excited I was and scared I was and nervous. And that's something when I'm ever feeling unsure, I'll flip back to and read. And it just brings me back to that time in my life when I decided to make the decision to become a coach. So that's really influential too. Maybe you have a picture of your why. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's a picture of yourself and you use that for, kind of a health vision. Post it on your refrigerator. Keep it somewhere visible so that you're always thinking about your why. Read some of your old posts that you may have put on your Facebook when you first started, to the middle, to now. Reach out to your coach. Your coach is going to remember, if they did their job, why you're here and what your why is. And so if you ever feel like you're going off track, have that conversation with your coach, and they will help remind you of why you're here. And your why can change throughout your journey. It's changed for me quite a bit. But it's always great to have someone there, someone you can partner with to say, why am I doing this again? Or remind me. And Joan and I actually did that probably a month ago, where I was in a tough spot, and she's like, remember when we met and you started bawling in the coffee shop and this, that, and I'm like, oh yes, I don't want to go back to that place. She's not fun. So it's great to have your coach, because that's what we're here for as coaches, and do that for your downline as well, because they need you. We all go through ups and downs in this business. It's a roller coaster. And then revisit old messages, maybe messages you've sent to people you've reached out to. Look at your journey, look at where you've been, look at how many people you've talked to and made a difference in their lives. And even if people are sending you positive messages on Messenger, or posting positive comments on your Facebook, take screenshots of those. Save a collection, make a folder in your phone or on your computer where you're saving all those, and can revisit them when you might be in a place of uncertainty or needing to realign yourself, etc. So it's so important to understand our whys and to keep those in mind, because it truly will be the driving force of how we spend our time and what we're doing. Now, I've really had quite the change in my lifestyle since I became a Beachbody coach. What do we know to be true? We know there are only 24 hours in a day. That's all we're going to get. So whatever we do, it has to fit within those 24 hours. So sometimes we need to readjust and realign what we're fitting into those 24 hours. So back in the day, I, of course, had my job in there, my family, my friends. I actually volunteered at 2 organizations, served on a board of directors, went to church, traveled a lot. And so now my list has changed, but I still have to fit the same amount of things into the day because the hours haven't changed. So I had to really look at what's my list and what's important to me, and how can I readjust that or realign that to be able to best manage my time. So I actually left 2 of my volunteer organizations. And you might think, wasn't that important to you? Why would you give that up? My response to that is, yes, it's important to me. It still is important to me. But I know if I drive my business further and grow my business more, once I am very successful, it will allow me to have more time to volunteer and do those sorts of things. I actually resigned my board position from the HR association I was a part of because I found it wasn't meeting my needs professionally and personally, what I wanted to do. So I had done it before to, do something to be a part of the community, and I just don't need that anymore. I talk to plenty of people every day. I don't need to talk to anybody else. Church is important, so that stayed. And travel, I used to travel probably every 3 months, and I've kind of put that on the back burner so I can focus on some other things. And so removing those areas and items allowed me to incorporate Beachbody more. And so that became a priority to me. And these lists are not in order of priority, but it's really been important to me to make more Beachbody time. And I'm in a new relationship, so that's important to me too. So sometimes we just have to make our list and readjust and realign in order to fit in the things that are really important to us. My schedule's changed a lot. This is an example of November and March. So I've always been someone who has a full plate. I've always been someone who has a booked calendar. This is not my work calendar. This is my after work calendar. So I was used to running around like a crazy person and said, I can't do this anymore. And I can't do this, especially if I want to work harder on my business. So what I did is I stopped planning things. I stopped planning happy hours. I stopped planning meeting up with people. I stopped planning being on organizations and going to different things. And what I did is I kept that time open and free so I can focus on Beachbody. And what you could also do is, where there are those kind of holes in the day, you could actually put Beachbody on your calendar. But I just wanted to show you that I personally have had to make a major shift. And it's actually helped me, believe it or not, to become more balanced. So when I started this business back in May, this was my schedule. This is what I did every single day. I'd wake up, reach out to people, work out at 6:30, then get ready and leave my house and go to work. And then at lunch, I would take an hour and just reach out to people and leave work and go home and make dinner and eat and do my power hour plus 1 hour. And about that time, I was hitting about SC10. And then I started to really get into it, and my schedule changed quite a bit. So I would wake up and reach out to people and work out, but I'd always interrupt my workout with taking pictures and answering messages. Then I'd shower and get ready, but I was still messaging people. Would leave the house, I say 8. I was late to work every day, and I actually still, don't tell my boss, I'm late to work every single day because I don't stop messaging people. And I do it in the car, don't tell anybody there either. So I drive and text and voice message, and you're just lucky you all get to work safely when I'm on the road. Sorry, I'll be safer. Then work starts, and I have to tell myself to put the phone down, that I do have a job that I need to do. And then lunch, I would continue to reach out to people, and then the day would continue, and I'd keep jumping on my phone and reaching out to people, don't tell my boss. And then go home. Making dinner was no longer a thing. I would buy it because it was faster, and then I would eat while messaging people and do my power hour plus hours, and end up going to bed around 11:30. And it was at that point in my time when I hit SC17. I actually had more points, but I allotted them in another place. So I was probably over 20. And so what I learned from this change was that the more effort I put in, the more I got out of what I was doing. Well, eventually I became a little out of balance with my life, and I started kind of changing how I allocated my time again, and not in a positive way. I would wake up and I was so tired, I would press snooze. Oops, that meant I didn't reach out to anyone in the morning. Got my workout in, but didn't really reach out during that time. got ready in the morning, did some correspondence, but not as much as usual, left the house, still did some voice messaging in the car, still had the problem with starting the job, but I always did. Stopped getting a lunch at work because we were so busy. Leaving work became more like 2 hours later than usual. Home so drained, buying dinner again, eating. Okay, power hour became watching TV and talking to people intermittently, and then all of a sudden I'd fall asleep on the couch. So that was my reality that set in. My reality was that I was really, really tired, and the stress and weight of my job became more part of my time in my everyday day. And what I noticed is now, and then this is recently, I started to have to really push to get to SC5. And this is a big change for me. So I came to a point where I had to say, and again, this is recently, I'll be very transparent. What are you doing and what's happening? And I get that you're tired and there's changes at work, but you need to stay strong to how you've adjusted your schedule. And because how I adjusted my schedule actually made me feel better about myself and what I was doing, and I had more energy, I realized I had to realign back to that. So I kind of had a halt of, whoa, let's stop and let's figure out why this is happening and what's going on. Because it's having a big impact on me in my business. I like this quote by Mark Cuban: never follow your dreams, follow your effort. It's not about what you can dream of. That's easy. It's about whether or not it's important enough to you to do the work and to be ready to be successful in that business. So I had that moment myself where I had to ask myself, how much time are you willing to put into this? I found myself talking to, a partner on the team and saying, I can't stay up that late. I'm too tired. Well, was it I can't stay up that late or I won't? Because I can stay up that late. There's no force of nature forcing me to go to sleep earlier. So I can do it, but am I willing to do it? And am I willing to put that effort in? And that's a big question that I've had to ask myself recently. And I was reminded again, I pulled out my journal and looking at my first Beachbody entry on May 10th. And the other night I opened that and I actually flipped the page and looked before that, and I found an entry from February of last year. And it was basically me writing about how miserable I was. And that was at a time when I was at a job where I spent all of my time and effort and gave them my whole heart and soul. And in return was told that they didn't want me there anymore. And that's part of my story. And if you haven't heard, I'd be happy to share it later. But I was reminded of getting to a point of being out of balance where what wasn't most important to me was taking over my life. And what I've learned about myself is I need to be in more balance, where most people would probably say it's still out of balance, but where I'm using the same amount of time in my day, but I'm diversifying it. I have more than one egg in my basket. And that's what I need to do in order to be successful. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to spend a ton of hours on Beachbody. It means that as well. And what we'll learn with this business is often to get a greater balance in your life, you have to give up balance for some time. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I needed to readjust my priorities and what hours were spent doing what things. And I know it to be true. I mean, look at the people who are successful out there. Look at someone like Joan, for example. In order to get where she is at today and to help our team to be successful, she's had to give up a lot of outside things and made a lot of changes. But she's decided to do that because it's so important to her. So again, I go back to that why. If you find yourself in a place of being out of balance or feel like you can't get done what you want to get done, go back to your why and ask yourself, what is my why and why am I here? And not what can I do, but what am I willing to do? And what do I need personally in order to get it done? So again, myself, I needed to diversify my life and where I spend my time. For you, it might be different. For you, you might need to spend it on 2 certain things or 3 certain things. A lot of you have families and kids, and that's part of your balance. And what does that look like to you? What does it mean to get quality family time in? Can you quantify that? Do you know what that looks like? So it's all about reassessing and reevaluating and going back to that why. And just know you're not alone. And that's the great part of this business. So what I like to share, because we all have plenty of people who are interested in coaching, and they come to us and say, I don't have time. And as we say to them, well, that's the great thing about this business, is it was designed for people like you and I who don't have a lot of time, so that you can work and do this when you can. And then eventually you'll have the financial freedom and time to do more of the things that you want to do. And so even though each of us have our own whys, we're not alone. We all have our own struggles as it pertains to time management. Again, some of you have families and spouses and extended families that you take care of. Others might be, like myself, single, but I have a ton of other things going on with my job. And so we're all in the same kind of boat, even though we might be doing different jobs on the boat. So it's really important that we're utilizing each other as resources, connecting with each other. And if you don't have a Success Club partner, I do encourage you to find that person, because they'll also be a really great resource to you and a person to you to help cheer you on and keep you going and remind you of your why and why you're here, and be someone to lean on. So keep that in mind as well. I love this quote. We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. And so again, your why is completely tied to how much time and effort you want to put in this business. If you want to leave your full-time job and do this work full-time and help people full-time, then you're going to have to bust your butt. If you want to do this so your Shakeology is free every month, then you're not going to have to work as hard, put in as much time. So the choice is really yours, but make sure you're making that choice, that you're making that decision to yourself, or that agreement with yourself, so that you can plan appropriately and know what you have to strive for to make it happen. Love this. Took this off of Jones' page. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. And this is awesome. I just found this. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. So that definitely rings true. And don't tell people your dreams, show them. So I know a lot of us too, when we got started with this business, we had a dream or an idea, and we may have been not supported very well by friends or family. I remember telling a group of my closest friends that I wanted to start this business, and their first reaction was, oh, well, why don't you go sell that other stuff? And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I want to work on health and fitness, and I want to be a Beachbody coach. And still, they don't really ask me about it. And that's, 95% of the time, how people react to us has nothing to do with us and all about them. But I want to show them, I want to prove that to them, that I can do this, and I will do this, and I will make it happen. So if you're not quite sure of your why, or maybe your why isn't as strong as you want it to be right now, add some other influential outside factors to help you keep going, whatever it takes. And just know that your coaches are here for you just as you are for your downline and your team. And we're all in this together, and we're celebrating success together, and we're supporting each other during challenges together. But it all comes down to one thing, and that's you. And why are you doing this, and what are you willing to give from your life in return to get to your dreams? So that's it. That's our little talk on time management. I hope it was helpful. I know it's short. If you want any more resources, I'd be happy to work with you one-on-one, since I actually did some trainings on this before, but I wanted to really keep it light and easy and relatable. So I don't think I have the power to unmute anyone. Kat does.
All right, guys. I honestly don't know how to do that. But if you have questions, you can unmute yourself and just feel free to unmute or you can type it into the chat as well. I'm in like 18 computers right now.
Oh, thanks for the chat, guys. I couldn't see any of them.
I said, disclaimer, Beachbody does not expect coaches to text and drive in order to sign coaches.
Oh, yes. I'm not supporting that behavior. Don't follow my lead, okay? Don't say my coach told me I should be texting when the cop pulls you over.
Lindsay, your call was awesome. It was so organized and it's just such good information. I think it's a huge point that, you really do have to make some sacrifices when it comes to your business, and that in the end it will matter, and in the end it will do something great for yourself. So, sacrifice now so that later you can do all of those things and not even have to worry about when you're doing it and why you're doing it. You can do it for fun.
Exactly. And you probably have experienced this. I kind of experienced it. Well, I definitely have. I don't want to say the Beachbody wave because that makes it seem like there's not a lot of effort put in, but or I almost think of dominoes. So when I am being super consistent and working really hard, I get on this wave and I'm like surfing and everyone's talking to me and reaching out and I'm reaching out to them, et cetera, et cetera. And then as soon as I start to not put in as much time, the wave dies down. Totally. And then all of the effort and everything I'd done before to get on the surfboard and really get cruising, all of a sudden starts to dwindle. And then it's like starting over again. So I want to continue surfing the whole time. And it's like the programs that we do. It's like what Autumn says in 21 Days Fix. If you're tired of starting over, stop quitting.
Exactly.
Keep the momentum going and you'll be setting yourself up for success.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yes, Meg, we're totally surfing on the cruise ship.
I'm afraid that I'm going to like bruise myself and bust my ass.
Whatever, you're super fit. I saw your pictures.
Oh, God.
You're going to kick some butt.
Oh, God. I was so large when I started.
You look so awesome.
Honestly, consistency in eating and following that plan changed everything. Commit to a program and follow it, people.
Who knew? Who knew that's what it took?
It's amazing. It's like these 3 vital behaviors are just part of our business. And it's like, these amazing rules that we follow, and it's like, oh my God, you just see success when you follow them. It's just crazy simple rule,
It's awesome.
Anyway, I think if that's all that you had and no one has any questions, I think we're good to go.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you have a great night, and I love you all.
Bye, guys. I'm going to stop recording.